In this video, we're going to be changing the rear brakes on my 2022 Audi Q3. And I've been currently filming a lot of maintenance videos on this car, so if you want to see more videos, check out my channel. And before we get started in today's video, make sure that you hit the like button because it really helps out and it's free of charge. And also, I want to give a huge shout out to OBDEleven for supporting this video. So if you guys need anything from OBDEleven, I'm going to have a link down in the description, so make sure you go and check it out for yourself. That tool is so versatile, easy to use, and it does so much more than just releasing the parking brake. So if you're doing a brake job in the rear of this car, you have to release that parking brake and put it in service mode before you can continue to take off the caliper to change the brakes or the rotors. And this tool is really easy to use, and I'm going to show you exactly what to do, so let's get into it. All right, so first thing we're going to do is take the tire off. And you'll see that there's these little black caps that we need to remove first. And to do that, we're going to use needle nose pliers. You can remove the lug nuts with a 17mm socket. So on the back here is the electronic parking brake, and we can't do anything until we disengage this. So this is our OBDEleven dongle that we are going to plug inside the OBD2 port, so we're going to do that now. So on this specific car, and most cars, it is in this area on the bottom of the steering column on the left side, and it's going to be pink right here. So we're just going to plug that in. And as soon as you plug it in, it lights up red. Next, we're going to grab our keys, and we're going to turn the car on without putting our foot on the brake. This is going to turn on the accessory mode. Next, you're going to download the OBDEleven app, and we're going to come to this page, and we're going to hit connect. The OBDEleven is going to pop right up here on the top, and we're going to click that. Looks like we have to run an update. Then you're going to make up your own PIN. Alright, so now it looks like it connected to the car, so we can begin disengaging the rear parking brake. So whenever you hit connect, it's going to automatically find your specific vehicle, but another way to do it is to click supported vehicles, and if you're also curious about another car that you may have, if it'll work, these are the list of all the cars. We'd hit Audi, type in Q3, and then we can quickly see that our options right here for our car. And then you can go through, select all the information. That's just another way to do it. So what you're going to do is hit the hamburger icon up in the top left. And then you're going to go to Garage. Click your car. And you're going to hit Apps. And then we're going to hit Workshop. And we're going to scroll down until we see the brake option. Brake pads replacement. And then from here, you'll be able to select open or close. And we're going to select open. And from the inside of the car, you're going to turn the ignition on. The hood has to be open, where it says right here on the bottom. And then you're going to engage the parking brake and then disengage the parking brake one time. And then from there, you're going to hold this in. And it's going to ask you if you want to buy credits. You do want credits to your account, so we're going to hit yes. And I'm going to buy these credits. After you buy those credits, okay, so we just completely opened up the parking brake. Now you can turn off the accessory lights. And then we're going to pull the dongle out. And before we go too far, we're going to take a can of PB Blaster and we're going to spray right here on the hub where it meets the rotor. And we're going to do this so it gives it time to really work in there, because this rotor could be seized on there. We don't know yet. Now, buying credits for the OBDEleven app is really not that bad, considering the fact that they have so many options on there. So you're only going to need to buy 2 different rounds of credits, which is going to be 20 credits, 10 to open these up, and then 10 to close them at the end. Now, on the back side of the rotor, there is a little wire that's going to be connected to the electronic parking brake. So we are going to disconnect this so that we can have some tension released off of that parking brake. All right, now we're underneath this connector and we're going to take a flathead. So what you're going to do is just put this flathead screwdriver right in this little crevice, twist it till you hear a click, and then we can pull it right out. Just put that off to the side. Now we have this wire. This is the same wire that we just disconnected down there, and it's going to be running down to the back of the electronic parking brake, and it is on this little hook here. So we want to release that because ultimately when we get this caliper off, we're going to hang this up, and we don't want to have too much tension on this line. So let's get this off. So just use a flathead, lift up and pull from the other side. I'll get that right off. Just tuck that out of the way. There's going to be 2 bolts in the back of the caliper with the pins right here, and they're going to have black caps on them. So that we're going to pop those black caps off so that we can access the 7mm Allen on the back of it. So we're just going to use a flathead screwdriver. Pop that off and do the same for the other side. Now we're going to remove this guide spring by just pulling back on it with a flathead screwdriver. Pretty sure the new kit will come with new hardware, so we probably don't need that. Now we're going to tackle the bolts going into these guide pins here and here. Pretty sure you're going to have to run to the auto store for this part because I guarantee nobody has one of these. But if you do, drop in the comments because I know I didn't. This is a hex 7mm, also known as an Allen key 7mm, and this is going to be a 3/8. So we can crank this off in the back. Don't know why Audi always has to use some weird tool, but that's German auto. I'll be pairing this up to a 3/8 ratchet, trying to keep it on the smaller end so that I don't come in contact with that brake line. And if those bolts are on too tight, don't be afraid to hit it with your old trusty rubber mallet. Be careful of that brake line, and you want to make sure that this goes all the way in to the bolt. There we go. Want to make sure it sets all the way in. Now we're going to hit that with a rubber mallet. So that one's tight up top. So you break that free, just crank that out. When it stops spinning, pull that out. It's not going to be all the way out quite yet, so we're going to take a flathead screwdriver and we're going to push at the bottom of this bolt until it releases, and then we can grab it from the backside and pull it all the way out. And this is just a little guide pin bolt. Now we're going to do the same exact thing for the other side. Give her a whack. Push it out. Now this part of the caliper is going to be completely free, so we're just going to wiggle it out. And this is a good time to make sure that you have a hook, because when that comes out, we have to make sure that we hook that to something so that it doesn't cause tension on that brake line. So we're just going to hook it up in place. I'm going to link in the description a piston retractor kit, and you're going to need that to retract the piston, and these actually come in the kit. 2 of these come in the kit, so that will be linked below. Okay, now we're going to pull that back. Piston was really pressed on there. Now at this time, we can just take the pads right out. Fun fact, the inside pad likes to wear down 3 times as quick as the outside pad, so you can see which one that is. That thing is pretty toasted. These definitely need replaced. Alright, this is the simple tool that you're gonna need in order to retract the piston. It's like $15, and it just goes right in between here, and it uses a little bit of a ratcheting technique to push it back in. Super easy to use. We're gonna place that right in between. You just wanna push down on it a little bit, give it a little bit of pressure, keep it in place the first couple. Once it gets going, it'll lock in. You can see that piston is getting pushed right back in. It's exactly what we want so that we can fit those new brake pads. Okay, when it begins to get tight, flip this the other way. Just go up. We'll pull right out. Now we can hang that caliper up and out of the way. Should be good right there. I ended up hanging the caliper bracket to this little piece of plastic in the shock. It could potentially break, but I'm just being careful. That was the only place on this side that I could find that was decent.
Okay, so we are on the back side here, and there is a bolt here and a bolt right up there. They are the star-shaped bolts, and they are a 14 in size. This holds the caliper bracket on. You do not have to take this off, but I do want to tell you, if you do want to get more room, you absolutely can. It's just going to be a lot more work, and I'm definitely not going to do it in this video because we're trying to do the least amount of work.
And if you do want or need to take that bracket off, this is the tool that you're going to need, an M14, and it's going to look like this. Now I know what you're thinking. Why aren't you taking that off if we're going to be replacing the rotor? Well, the reason is on these types of cars, some Volkswagens like the Tiguan and some various Audis, you can actually wiggle the rotor off without taking this off, which makes this so much easier because those bolts in the back need torque down and they're very hard to get off. You need a breaker bar and there's not a lot of room under the car. So this actually works out great. So now we're going to take off this little guide screw right here, and it's possible that these rotors may fall off right away. That may not be your case because I've already replaced these before once. So everything was lubed up and these might not be as corroded as yours. If that is the case and yours don't come off, you are going to have to take a rubber mallet, hit it from the back, hit it around the middle until it loosens up. Make sure you spray more PB Blaster and trust me, it will come off. I'm going to take a T30. This is going to be a 3/8. The PB Blaster definitely helped from before. That sat for a while. Now I'm going to show you how to get this off without taking this bracket, and it's very simple. All you have to do is angle it and slide it out. And as you can see up here, there is maybe a tiny little bit of scraping, but I'm not going to be using these rotors, so it doesn't matter. So now that you know how to take the rotor off, now I'm going to show you how to take it off if you're reusing this rotor so that you don't scratch it. What you're going to do is use masking tape. And we're going to tape up the side that's opposite of that bracket. Now we're going to remove the screw. And we're going to spin this masking tape underneath that bracket. And once it's all underneath the bracket, then you can take it off. And not a scratch on the rotor. This next part is very important. So we're taking the brand new rotor, and this rotor is going to be covered with like an oil that we have to remove. Lay it on here. There is an oil that's on here that has to come off, and we are going to spray it with a brake cleaner. Take a microfiber cloth and wipe it down. And you can see how much oil and residue is on there. We do not want that to go in contact with our new brake pads because that will cause squeaking. So you can just go over this a few times, and then we're going to do the other side. Make sure you get all of that junk off. This step is very important, so make sure that you don't skip it. Okay, this one's all good to go. For this part of the video, we're going to be focusing on two spots that we're going to be cleaning, which is going to be this right here. We're going to make sure that we have a good contact point for our new rotor to go on so it doesn't get seized when we do another brake job. And also these sliders right in here where the brake pads are going to be going, we are going to be cleaning both of those off with a wire brush. So now we're going to take our wire brush and we're going to clean these off and then hit it with some brake cleaner. And if this is done properly, then the next time that you take the rotor off, it'll be super easy, just like mine was. Now let's hit these sliders. Nothing crazy, we just want to clean them up. Now we want to hit this with some brake cleaner. And you can see how clean it is already. Give it a wipe. Now we're going to spray these brackets. A quick wipe. At this point, we're going to take the small bit of grease anti-seize that came in the 8 Premium brake kit and apply it to these brackets. Now we're going to take some anti-seize lubricant and put it around this hub. make sure you get around this edge where the rotor is going to seat. It's probably the most important spot. And I'm just going to do the lip where the wheel sits. It's a little overkill, but I know that it's not going to get stuck. Now we are going to put masking tape on this rotor so that we don't scratch it while we're putting it on without taking the caliper bracket off. So what you're going to do is note where the screw is placed on the hub right now, where it sits, and then wherever that position is, this is how mine's faced. My screw is at the bottom when you're looking at the hub. So you are going to do the opposite side. So that's how it is, and that is the bottom. So the bracket would be right here. So you want the part you want to tape is going to be the complete opposite of the bracket. So for me, I'm going to want to tape this side right here. Now let's throw it on. Now what we're going to do is put the tape side in over that bracket so that we don't scratch the rotor. And then now we're going to spin it until the screw hole lines up. And then this will allow us to be able to easily take this tape off so it's not stuck behind this bracket. Now we can put the screw in. The rotor is properly secured. I'm going to go ahead and spray the rotor one more time now that it's on with brake clean. Now we're going to take our new brake pads and apply anti-seize grease. And now we're going to apply some anti-seize grease to the back of the pads. And this is to prevent squeaking. So this is going to be the rear pad. The piston's going to be in the middle. And this is going to be the front pad. And there's going to be some metal here and here. So we're going to focus on those spots. Just want to make sure we cover where the piston's going to be hitting. And also where the metal is going to be engaging. You don't have to go crazy. That should be good. And now we're going to be throwing the pads in the bracket, and we want to make sure the one that has this metal bracket is going to be on the inside of the rotor. And definitely don't get grease on the inside of the pad, on the actual pad itself, because that can cause a huge problem. We're going to clean these little guide pins now. I'm going to put a very thin layer of grease on them. Now the easiest thing to do is going to be to put this slider bolt onto your tool first and then insert it. We're going to lift the caliper up, slide it over, brakes, insert that slider. Might be easier to just spin it on with the tool first because that brake line is a little bit in the way to get it started. Okay. Not going to go too far yet. And you want to make sure that this metal bracket is behind the actual brake caliper bracket. And that's probably going to be the trickiest part of the job, is just lining up those little bolt sliders. I'm personally just going to do these hand tight. I couldn't find a torque spec for these anywhere, but the sliders on the front brakes were 35 Newton meters, which is about 26 foot-pounds. So if you do want to torque this, I would probably recommend 26 foot-pounds, but I cannot guarantee that that's correct. But these were not in tight at all, and they the edge of this slider was just flush with the bracket. So that's like a little bit more than hand tight. We're going to take this hardware that was supplied in the brake pad kit from A Premium, and we are going to put this onto that caliper to keep it snugged up. We took off the old hardware. We're just going to throw it away. So we are going to use this one. This goes through the holes first and then on the back of the caliper. And that keeps the whole thing. You see when I tug it, everything is in place now. Just make sure that these are in the holes. Don't forget to throw these little caps on the back of the slide pins. We're going to take our electronic parking brake wire and put this right back on the guide. Okay, we're going to take this connector and plug it back in. Make sure you hear a click. So everything is now all good to go down here. So we are going to hop in the car, turn on the accessory lights, make sure that you pop the hood, And we're gonna plug our OBDEleven tool back in the car because it's the moment you've all been waiting for. We are gonna engage the parking brake. So now that we're back in the OBDEleven app, we are gonna hit the connect button. Connect to OBD2, and we'll let it connect to the car. After it connects to the car, hit the hamburger up in the top. Go to car, and then we're gonna hit apps. Take us over to workshop, and then we are gonna go down to the brake service. Brake pads replacement. Now that we already have this open, it's time to close. So we're gonna select the close option, hold this button down, and it's gonna ask us to buy credits, in which we are gonna do. And we're gonna verify. It is now officially closed. We are going to turn the ignition off, remove the OBDEleven. Now, don't forget to torque your wheels down to spec, and definitely don't forget to pump your brakes a few times before you move the car anywhere. At this point, the pistons are still retracting the calipers, and if you hit the brakes, they're not gonna work for 1 to 2, 3 pumps. So make sure you pump those before you go anywhere. And I'm gonna also link down in the description all of the brake parts that you're gonna need. Make sure that you check the Audi website that I'm gonna link, because the S-Line has a bigger rotor than the non-S-Line version. So definitely verify that before you buy anything, but I'm gonna have all of that linked in the description. Check it out, A Premium. Thank you guys for hooking me up with these parts. I am so excited about the quality of fit that these brake pads and hardware, everything, the rotors and all of it fit. Everything was perfect. I had 0 issues with the parts. So if you guys would like to pick up these same parts for your vehicle, I'm gonna have it linked down in the description. So if this video helped you out, make sure that you hit the like button, subscribe for some more videos. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.